So picture this, a simple fisherman who somehow becomes the foundation of a global faith. In this explainer, we're diving into the incredible story of Saint Peter, a journey of total transformation that has, believe it or not, shaped history for over 2,000 years.
And that's really the central question, isn't it? We're going to explore how this happened. It's a wild ride that involves a new name, a life-changing mission, a moment of just devastating failure, and in the end, a commitment that would cost him absolutely everything.
To really get who this man was, we have to start where he did. Not as a saint, not as a pope, but just as an ordinary guy trying to make a living on the water.
All right, so our story kicks off in Galilee. We've got a man named Simon, working as a fisherman, probably just like his dad did. You know, it's a tough, everyday kind of life. But everything is about to change when his own brother, Andrew, introduces him to this really charismatic teacher named Jesus.
And this meeting, well, it isn't just some casual hello. It's a huge, pivotal moment of reinvention that all starts with one single, powerful act.
So Jesus doesn't just call Simon to follow him. He gives him a whole new identity. He renames him Peter, which literally means rock. And this wasn't just some nickname. It was a declaration. It was a vision for the man Simon was meant to become.
And then Jesus makes the meaning of that new name crystal clear, saying that Peter will be the bedrock, the solid foundation for this whole new community of believers. Can you just imagine the pressure and the promise packed into that one sentence?
His entire life gets turned upside down. He's called to leave his nets behind and become a fisher of men. All his skills, gathering, leading, working with people, they're all being repurposed for this huge spiritual mission. His purpose has been completely redefined.
But here's the thing, being named the Rock didn't make him unbreakable. In fact, the most human and powerful part of Peter's story doesn't come from his strength, but from his moment of profound weakness.
Okay, so the scene is set. Jesus, Peter's leader, his friend, he's been arrested, and he's about to be executed. This is the ultimate test of loyalty for everyone who followed him. And in that critical moment, the rock crumbled. Just like that. Gripped by fear, Peter, the same guy who promised he'd stand by Jesus, publicly denied he even knew him. He abandoned him in his darkest hour.
For a lot of people, a failure that big would be the end of the story. But for Peter, it was actually the necessary beginning of his redemption.
Because after the total despair of the crucifixion comes this unbelievable miracle of the resurrection. Peter sees the risen Jesus, not just once, but many times. And that experience, it transforms his guilt and his fear into this overwhelming joy and a totally renewed sense of purpose. He's forgiven and his mission is back on.
So forged in this fire of failure and forgiveness, Peter emerges. He's no longer just a follower. He's the fearless leader he was named to be.
And the mission really kicks into high gear at Pentecost. The apostles are all together when they have this incredible experience they describe as being filled with the Holy Spirit, like a divine jolt of energy. And in this electrifying moment, guess who's the first one to stand up and speak to the massive crowd? Peter, the very same man who was once crippled by fear, now preaches with this astonishing boldness.
And this newfound courage would take him from the quiet shores of Galilee all the way to the very heart of the Roman Empire, where his story would reach its dramatic final chapter.
I mean, his journey is just incredible when you lay it out. He goes from a fisherman in Galilee to a witness in Jerusalem, gets empowered at Pentecost, and then travels the known world sharing his message. And his final stop, Rome, the center of all imperial power.
So in Rome, his preaching gets him arrested, and the charge? Refusing to worship the Roman gods. The sentence was exactly the same as Jesus's, crucifixion. But tradition says he actually requested to be crucified upside down because he felt unworthy to die in the same way as his teacher. His body was then buried on Vatican Hill, the exact spot where the magnificent St. Peter's Basilica stands today.
And so the fisherman from Galilee, the man renamed Rock, the one who failed and was forgiven, he becomes the foundation stone of the church. He is recognized as the very first pope, a legacy that of course continues to this day.
So it really makes you wonder, right? What does it mean to build something huge, something lasting, on a foundation of, well, human imperfection? Peter's story seems to say that the strongest foundations aren't built on being flawless, but on the experience of being broken, being forgiven, and being rebuilt. It leaves room for all of us and our shared imperfect humanity.